Hey everyone, it's Daryl, and I got interrupted doing a live stream by some faulty software, so I thought I would just record an old-fashioned video about Airtable, which is a hybrid application both on mobile and desktop that I use to track my crafts inventory. I actually learned about this application from George and Ken of Crafts by Two. And it's been super duper awesome for me. And I know it's the beginning of the year, and I saw some people online talking about how to organize their craft stuff and prevent buying duplicates, things like that. And I use Airtable for that. So I thought I would show you a little bit about how I do it. So let's jump in. So first thing, what is Airtable? Airtable is an application you can download on your Android or iOS phone or tablet. It also runs in a web browser, and it's a cloud-based database. You set up your own list of fields. You can set up multiple databases. You can share databases with people. You can set permissions so the people you share them with can only view information, or you can have it so some people are able to enter information as well. It's very flexible, very, very flexible, and it's kind of fun. It has a really nice, colorful interface, and yeah, somebody deserves major kudos for turning a database application to something enjoyable. So let's get started. So Airtable, like I said, you can download it in the App Store on both iOS or Android. You'll see it doesn't have a whole lot of reviews, only 55, but they're all 5-star, and they're very well deserved. So why don't we go ahead and show what the application looks like. So you'll see here on the first screen, I've got several databases listed. I've created 2. And the first one was for craft supplies. The second is called K&K Force, and that is to track different settings that people submit for various materials, different cut settings. You'll also see that I have a shared database down here, and this one is from George and Ken of Crafts by Two, and this is their database. And they've shared it, so I have permission to view the information that they have. And I, of course, did the same in return, because I'm that kind of guy. So what else can we say about Airtable? Probably not much. Why don't we just jump right in and take a look and learn by doing. So I'm going to go into my craft supplies database. And like most databases are made up of tables. So I have one table in my craft supplies database for embossing folders. It's the one I use most. I have another table for inks and paints. I have one for stamps, and we're going to make one during this video for paper pads. That's going to kind of be the full brunt of the demo, really. But let me drill into one of my embossing folder records so you can see the different fields that I have set up. So I have a name, attachments where you can insert photos. You can take those with your camera, or you can choose one from your library, depending on what you got. I capture the manufacturer, product ID, product line, a collection. Some manufacturers get really overwrought with how they categorize their stuff, but I want to capture it all. I capture the dimensions, the price paid, the quantity. Some folders come with 2 in one pack, where they might have 1 barcode but 2 items. So I like to track that. So I keep a count of how many SKUs I have, but also how many individual items I have as well. And I find that kind of fun. So going back to the main page, one thing you can also do is configure different views. And I'm going to switch over to the Chrome window because this particular view that I like is not yet functional in the mobile app. So in the desktop app, like I said, you can configure a view. And one of those views is a gallery view where the attachment field is sort of the primary. And I have to give a shout out to Victoria over at Airtable. I actually emailed them with this particular use case and said, hey, I want to capture all of this information, but I really don't want to see it all the time. I really only want a very minimal view, and I want the picture to be the most prominent because it's the most important thing for me. All I really care about when I'm looking for embossing folders to use is what it looks like. So they kind of got that enabled within just a couple of weeks and sent me an email to beta test it, and I thought it was super. So kudos to them. Where else can we go now? How about we just go ahead and launch into creating a new table, and you can actually see how this thing works if you were to download it yourself to start fresh. So I'm going to click in here, and you'll see I actually, when my live stream got cut off, I already had the table in there, so it pre-populated the name. So let's go ahead and wipe this one out real quick. There we go. And now I can start on table 6. And I'm going to pop this this table open here in the web view so you can see just how quickly these things synchronize back and forth. So I'm going to give my table 6 the name paper pads. And now I can go in and customize the fields that I want to capture for this particular table. So I definitely want to keep a name. I definitely want an attachment. I'm going to move that up there. And the notes field I always leave in just in case. So I also want to add in a field to capture the company that manufactures my individual paper pads. And we'll leave that as a single line text file, a single line text entry rather. I'll add a new field, and I want to capture the size because paper comes in different sizes. I also want to capture how many sheets are in there. I probably have no good use for doing that, but why not? Quantity, in case I buy more than one of the same kind of paper, which that does happen. And the most fun and my favorite and most useful is going to be the barcode. So I'm going to change this field type here to barcode, and that's going to let me use the camera to then scan in that record. So I've got my fields configured, and why don't we go ahead and I'll start scanning in a paper pad. So I'm going to grab one over here, and let's see, I'll hit the plus sign, and the name of this one that I'm using is called Abroad. I'm going to take a picture of it. Normally I don't keep my fingers in there, but it's just a quick demo. So the company is called Authentique. The size is 6 by 6. And what's useful to point out here is that once you enter in a particular value for a field, you don't have to enter it again. You can just pick it from a drop-down. And I'll show you what that looks like in one of the embossing folder records since they're more filled out. And now I can scan my barcode. Great. So there's our first record. You can see it's been going into the Chrome view of the database as soon as I put it in the phone. It syncs that fast. So let's switch back real quick and go back to craft supplies, embossing folders, and let's say I'm entering in a new embossing folder. If I scroll down to manufacturer here and hit the entry, you'll see I already have each entry that I've put in for a manufacturer. I can just go ahead and choose again. So I can choose Cricut, or I can go and choose Crafter's Companion, either way. And each of the fields are like that. So when I'm in a store, for example, here, let me take this Chrome view off so you can see my face. If I'm in, say, Michael's or something, and I'm looking at embossing folders, and I'm not sure if I have one, I can click the search button up top, click the barcode in the search field, and scan a barcode. And then I can see that it pulled up the record for that barcode, and I do indeed have this particular folder, obviously, but not always so when I'm in a store. So that's great. And for those of you worried about preserving your data, there's also this great option in the web interface where you can download your data to a CSV file. And another great feature that I like a whole lot is the ability to set up forms that you can embed on a website that will then capture information that people enter. So for example, I have a database for the K&K Force where I keep cut settings for all the different materials. And I also set up a form where our users can submit cut settings. If they, and our users do, cut lots of oddball materials, they can then enter in the various settings for the machine in order to share those with other users. It's really great. And you can see I have the database with the cut settings embedded on my website, and that same form that we just looked at is on a different page, and this is where anybody can come and enter something. Now this verified field over here is one that I did not include in the form because that's something I want to manually update myself. If I test the settings, then I'll check that box that's in the field, and that way I know that it's something confirmed. So that's really about it for the demo. I hope you found this useful, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer them. I love this application, and I think it's really useful for all sorts of things. And speaking of all sorts of things, before I forget, let's throw this Chrome window back up here. And if I go back and click Browse Templates on the main page, Airtable provides you all sorts of different templates to start a database. So if you want to start a database to keep track of all your favorite movies or keep track of your books that you have, grad school applications, expense tracking, all sorts of things, they have these predefined templates with all the fields already set up to help you get going. And you can also duplicate databases, duplicate tables, so you can use one of these as a shortcut to starting your own if you want to use something else. And I'm, of course, happy to share my database layout with anyone who wants it as well. So just ask. That's about it. I hope it was informative. I appreciate your time watching, and subscribe to my channel. Like my page on YouTube. Yeah, find me. There'll be lots more of this. 2017. It's the year of live. Have a great night, everyone.